One of the problems one has when doing research is writing up the dissertation. Signposting is one of the methods that one uses in order to bring your reader through your text and show them by using various cues and signs and words how your research progressed from the research question right to the end of the conclusions. So today we're going to talk about signposting as a technique in writing to permit this flow of text and prose. Signposting is used to tell the readers where they are in the text, where they're about to go, and what they will find. And it also actually tells you where you are and where you're about to go yourself, because sometimes you get so involved in the writing, you actually don't know in which way you are going, because you get focused on one thing and you forget about everything else. So in Western society, the author is responsible for making the text as clear as possible for the reader, and also in science, this is. So it requires explicit scientific writing to anticipate and address the reader's questions as they might go along. The reader will want to know, obviously, what the author's aims are and how they will be achieved. The author's position is about key issues, and that is voice, and I've spoken about voice in another recording. How the argument is constructed, the scientific argument, how ideas relate to each other within the text, and what is important according to the author. So good writers use the signposting language to signal to the reader where these answers can be found. Now, there are signposts you already use in your thesis, or actually should be using. The table of contents is the main one, where it gives a detail of the headings and chapters and subsections within each chapter. And of course, the list of tables and figures. Those are also the big signpost areas. Within your table of contents, you have a numbering hierarchy, which arranges the headings of the different levels of your chapter, and it reflects the organization of the thesis contents. The headings, the main headings, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, are used to divide your work. It helps readers to distinguish between ideas, and it also facilitates reviewing or finding key passages. But let's just go back to this first page of a table of contents. Here's the heading of the chapter, the main heading, the overview, the thermal expansion, the origin of thermal expansion, negative and no positive thermal expansion materials, and borophosphates and metalloborophosphates. These are all the second level of headings. And within them, you have further subheadings as numbered by 1.2.3. These fit under that heading. These fit under that heading, and so on. So the 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5 are all the main subdivisions of your chapter, and each of them has equal status as far as importance is concerned with the subheadings below. So remember, numbering hierarchy is one of the signposts you need to know and to put into place. The signposting language, not the ordering, can be divided into two broad categories: major signposts, which signal key aspects of the work, such as purpose, structure, author stance, and so on, and linking words and phrases, which show connection between sentences and paragraphs. So if we look at the major signposts, the major signpost is the aim of the study is to. There are three objectives to my aim. The purpose of this section, which is appearing now, will be to outline such and such. This report argues that, once again, voice, This chapter critically examines. Here we tell the reader what is going to happen. This section begins by, it will then go on to, and finally. In conclusion, it must be said, and these are also major signposts when it comes to your indicating where the results can be found in figure 3.1 or table 5.4 shows. It indicates to your reader major places where they have to stop and look and absorb what is in the figures or the tables. Now, we also, as I said, used linking words and phrases, and they can be listing, so first, second, or third, or indicating addition and similarity, indicating contrast, giving reasons, indicating results, reformulating an idea, or exemplifying. And we're going to go on to some examples just now on these, using these signposting language. Now, not only do they indicate like contrast, but they can also indicate a change of pace or direction depending on what word you use. A slowdown word, which indicates a change in ideas, is about to go and occur. So you can say, however, and then you must be alerted, hang on, however, there's another part to this argument. Or else, on the other hand. Keep going words indicates there's going to be more of the same. So furthermore, you've discussed some publications here on a certain issue, and furthermore, more is to come. Also, in addition, similarly. Here it comes words. This is when the big statement or conclusion is about to be mentioned or summarized. Therefore, in conclusion, consequently, and so on. And then finally, it can be seen in your figure or your table, what is important there. So you've got major signpostings, which indicates what's going to happen, and the linking words, which will describe and indicate different paces and directions and comparing perhaps different points of view. Tables and figures are the stop signs to engage attention. Tables show detail, figures show trends, pictures show facts. All of the illustrations should be clear and comprehensive. This is basically the intrinsic part of your argument. And you need to get your readers to stop and absorb the information. So make it quite clear where it is in the text to indicate where the reader has to go. So we've talked about the theory, and now let's go and look at examples. And I've drawn examples from Antolini, this study, where he looks at the stability of PTM alloy catalysts. This is a very nicely written paper. So let's have a look at the text or signposts Antolini has used to tell the reader what you're going to tell them. To explain in a sentence what Antolini was going to tell the reader, he says the background is there are severe shortcomings of the present technologies. One of the most important problems to make low temperature fuel cells more economically attractive is related to the rate of the cathode reaction. Then he goes on to say, and I've underlined these things, the content and purpose of the material which is to follow, what is going to happen next. Much of the research is summarized below. So can you see how he's used linking words to indicate what is going to happen, and he's brought you as a reader along his thinking when it comes to this part of the paper. You also have to tell the reader what lies ahead. So here he has mentioned the previous paragraph. He's brought the previous paragraph into this paragraph. In this section, the black section leads to the research aim, which is the purpose of this paper. And finally, it's quite clear what will happen next. The following of the operation is also presented. Now, when it comes to the signposting that is used, he starts this sentence, this paragraph, contradictory results have been reported. And then he goes on to say what Stoneheart has said, and what Bett has said, and Groover has said. So these are the contrasting reports. Then he uses as regards carbon-supported platinum, Bett and Groover, that's a keep-going word, have found only a small effect on the crystallite growth rate. Honji, instead, showing a difference, observed potential dependence on the PT sintering, unlike the results of Stoneheart, contrasting again. So by indicating that there are contradictory results, he puts in the linking word as regards, instead, and unlike to help you understand what the contrasting points are. To indicate textual flow, Antolini has said in parts of his paper, as previously reported, over the past decade, only limited effort has been put into addressing the issue of stability and durability. That is where he has given his own opinion that there's limited effort. On the other hand, Park observed contrast. Considerable work has been carried out. Another linking word, a new idea. As you can see, John and Matthew have done 2 papers on carbon-supported binary alloys. Finally, in summary, he says this research has shown, and he has brought in his findings, it is recommended, and it presents a higher stability. Another finding. So it is summarized for the reader what they have just read, and they've also included here their contribution to the knowledge based on the research. Now, as I said, illustrations are stop signs, and it is very useful to use them, illustrations, within your text, because they then tell things in one picture, which might take you a page to write. So this is a very nice screenshot, which Mkhuri used in his PhD to illustrate the program. Because in order to write this out, the text will, as I said, take a page. But what is very important is he has referred to the figure 2.3 in the text to direct your attention to that. And he has also given an explanation of what the program is all about in the caption. And the caption is always below the figure. Now, I've put this in because I found this a particularly innovative way of summarizing some literature. And here it is referred to, the scheme in the text. And what I like about it is he has summarized the literature on PTM stability text by dividing it up into this flow diagram. These papers, 43, 53, 63 to 65 and 68, show negligible M loss. If you go to the other arm where there is M dissolution, some show a positive effect, roughening in 2 papers, electronic effect in 1 paper, and M3 plus in the electrolyte in 1 paper. There is no effect in 4 publications, and a negative effect is shown in 2 publications or 2 activities, where you have, in this case, 4 publications and 3 publications here. But this is a very nice summary, just to show what the literature says about the topic of PTM stability tests. And I suggest, if possible, you include something like this, because it summarizes a hell of a lot of text. Now, to finally going through the literature on writing, I suggest Barbara English, Cecile Badenhorst. I never learned proper English at school, so I found this textbook very useful. And this is also a very good collection of chapters on scholarly writing and publishing. This, as I've said to you before, is my best book on technical and scientific writing. We so often don't get books devoted solely to technical and scientific writing. You can get it on the internet. It's freely available, and it has all these links which you can use. So you don't need to buy it. So I hope that instead of being lost, confused, unsure, unclear, and perplexed, this talk has shown you how to write unambiguously and comprehensively. Thank you.